Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. And in this update, we are going to check out ICP's price chart and see what is happening in the short term. And I think we are kind of on the right track. But before that, we are going to talk about a very important subject because one of my viewers in the comment section of the previous video said this. Wow, so anybody can install your app and all the work that you put in will be taken. Well, here is the situation. I'm not really sure if this is the right interpretation, and we are going to talk about the potential business model for Caffeine AI in today's update. Now, let me be very clear. At first glance, I think this is absolutely a fair reaction. I mean, imagine spending days, maybe even weeks, building your perfect app on Caffeine, uploading it to the store, and then bam, all of a sudden, anybody can just click clone. Well, this feels kind of brutal, and I do fully agree with you. But here is where it gets kind of interesting and why this isn't necessarily as crazy as it sounds. Number one, cloning is not really equal to stealing. You see, Caffeine wants people to be able to clone apps, but the creator in here isn't necessarily left out in the cold. You, as the creator, can actually set whether cloning is free or maybe even paid. You can set the price to clone your app, maybe even you get paid every time someone clones your app. This is kind of like selling templates or plugins on WordPress or maybe Shopify. You build it once and then hundreds, maybe even potentially thousands of people are willing to pay to use your work. So instead of one app, one client, you unlock this marketplace effect and potential great passive income. Number two, you see, the real value in this scenario is you, the creator. Here is why this is so important. You see, with Caffeine, you don't really shape your app and forget about it. No, you can actually update it, and guess what? Users can subscribe to those updates. So now you are not selling this static app. No, you are building an ongoing relationship in this situation. And if you keep adding new features or improvements, people stay subscribed. It means your reputation, creativity, and ongoing effort actually becomes a very important part of the product. And all of a sudden, your work keeps paying off month after month, not only once. Number three, Caffeine AI is inspired by open source, but with a business model. In open source, anybody can fork or copy your code. That's absolutely fine. But developers and companies in this situation still make money with number one, for example, paid support, number two, custom builds, and number three, reputation and brand. Caffeine in this scenario is taking the same idea, but at the same time, it is trying to build monetization directly into the platform, and you can charge for clones, offer subscriptions, and your ongoing efforts keeps creating value for you. Number four, you see, cloning isn't everything. The real business are more than just simple code. And sure, I fully understand someone can technically clone your app, that's fine, but let's just think about what actually cannot be cloned. Number one, your brand and your community. Number two, trust and reputation. Number three, exclusive content or partners. And number four, better customer support. And honestly, a cloned app that nobody knows about isn't necessarily going to magically steal your audience. I do not believe that. So while at first glance, it might sound like people can steal your app, I completely understand that POV, but it's actually way closer to a marketplace model where you, as a creator, keep control and can monetize your work and get rewarded real nice by staying active and innovative. Now, let's dig a bit deeper into why this cloning model might actually be kind of a big deal, not necessarily a threat. Couple of reasons. You see, lowering the barrier to entry grows the market and benefits creators themselves. So here's the situation. By making it super easy to clone apps, Caffeine isn't just making life easier for users. No, it's actually aiming to blow this whole market wide open. Think about it like this. Now anybody, and I really mean that, anybody, including non-coders, can become an app creator. Number two, someone with good idea but zero coding still in this scenario is able to clone an app, tweak it, add features, and launch their own thing, and that's definitely not that bad. Number three, In this scenario, the original creator still gets paid when their apps get cloned. Okay, it's very important to understand that. And that means instead of just a handful of pro devs fighting over a very, very small market, you could have potentially thousands of small creators building niche tools, widgets, maybe even micro apps. And here is the economic angle for you. Even if individual prices are lower, a bigger market usually means more total buyers. So overall, I believe more revenue will flow to creators who keep building on Caffeine AI. Now, here's another very important point. You see, the upside is actually the self-writing economic ecosystem. And what do I mean by that? You see, the manifesto calls this a self-writing economic ecosystem, and it is kind of poetic, but what it means is really quite practical. You need to imagine thousands of mini apps, tools, or small businesses, maybe niche e-commerce add-ons, maybe custom dashboards, maybe even fun customer apps, and each might only take just a few bucks here and there. But together, it becomes basically this living, growing library of software. And for users, well, this is actually great. Why? Because it means number one, more choice, number two, lower cost, and number three, faster innovation. And instead of waiting months and years for a dev team, they can basically grab what they need and then clone it and then launch it. So in summary, yes, cloning can feel scary, I understand that, but it's actually by design. At first, it feels like, wait, people are stealing my app, but you need to zoom out a little bit more and understand that you choose whether cloning is free or paid. Number two, you keep control of your updates. And number three, your brand, creativity, and community cannot simply be cloned, okay? It's very, very important to remember that this isn't software privacy. No, it's actually much, much closer to open source plus paid extensions or template business model. And maybe the most exciting part is going to be this. This model could unlock economic opportunities for people who never ever imagined themselves as a developer. And at the end of the day, the question isn't really, can someone copy my app? Because yes, they absolutely can. The real question is this: can I build something people actually want, and enough people will pay me to copy it and keep paying for updates? And that, my friends, is where creators win. Your ongoing creativity and care becomes the real product in this situation. It's very, very important to know that. Now, let's switch gears and talk about something everybody is curious about. How is Caffeine actually going to make money? And here is a quick disclaimer first. Most of what we are going to talk about in today's update is kind of a speculation, but based on what has been shared so far, and it's kind of realistic, and it does line up with what similar platforms are doing right at the moment. So let's start. Number one, I think we need to talk about the overall business model, which I believe is going to be freemium model, meaning free for beginners and at the same time paid for pros. Because Dominic Williams said it himself, exact details are not going to be shared right now, but the model will be kind of freemium. And honestly, I do believe this is kind of a smart idea. Why? Because it has really worked before for platforms like Webflow, Notion, and Bubble. Everybody in this model can actually start for free, which is great. They can build, they can experiment, they can maybe even launch their first app. But when your project starts to grow, or if you need Pro Tools, you can actually start paying. This is, in my opinion, great. So the question is, what might those paid feature look like? Again, this is just pure speculation, but it's going to be probably stuff like this. Number one, advanced analytics or debugging tools. Number two, connecting to external APIs or maybe even premium data feeds. Number three, customizing your UI beyond the defaults. Number four, automated security scans or compliance reports. And number five, maybe priority placements on the App Store or being featured to get more visibility in there. This creates a natural funnel. Start free, your app does well, and well, at that point, you will be absolutely happy to pay for more power. And the key here is this: by making the entry free, Caffeine can attract a huge number of creators who would never ever bother if they had to pay upfront. This is, in my opinion, a great model. Now, another very important deal could be potentially this, according to Dominic Williams. You will need cycles to publish apps, and he said details will be abstracted away from the mass market. If you don't know, you should understand that in the internet computer ecosystems, cycles are basically the fuel, kind of like gas on Ethereum. Every smart contract or app needs cycles to burn. It's very important to understand that. And I fully get it. Most normal users hate thinking about these stuff. So let's talk about the likely models. You see, developers do need to kind of worry about cycles. And this means when you publish apps, you pay cycles to keep it alive. But from an end user point of view, they will just see free app, or maybe even, I don't know, let's say a 2-month subscription. So in this scenario, who pays what? Developers might actually fund cycles directly from their earnings, and users might, number one, use a free ad supported version, number two, pay a small subscription for premium features, and number three, maybe they are going to actually pay one-time fee to clone an app. We are not really sure what is going on here, but these are actually possible scenarios. And with this way, the platform itself earns money in multiple ways. For example, number one, selling cycles just like cloud providers charge for compute. Number two, taking a very small cut of app sales. This is possible. Maybe even they are going to take a cut from cloning fees or even subscription. We are not really confident what is going to happen. And number three, it can actually benefit possibly from offering premium developer tools as paid add-ons. And you might ask, well, okay, why is this going to make so much sense? Two very important reasons. One, it aligns with the open ecosystem. Creators in this scenario set prices, and the platform just takes a very small share. Number two, it keeps blockchain complexity, for example, like cycles, invisible for most people, but still enforces economic sustainability on the backend, which is the most important thing. And you want to remember, this is likely based on what has been shared so far. Final details could potentially change, but this, in my opinion, shows how Caffeine might turn from just a cool AI tool into a real business, one that rewards creators, make money itself, and keeps the barrier low so everybody can join. And now let's talk about some of the deeper mechanics behind how this thing actually might end up working. Because Dominic Williams said something very important on Twitter. Apps are absolutely tamper-proof. Sounds like marketing at first, but it's actually a core technical promise. Here is why it matters. You see, from users' point of view, if you clone an app on the Caffeine App Store, you know that it is exactly what the creator published, no hidden malwares, no sneaky edits. This is very important, and it's like getting a signed, sealed package. What you see is basically what you get. Also, from developers' point of view, your code runs on the internet computer or maybe Utopia private network. We are going to talk about this in the next videos, hopefully. So nobody can secretly grab your app, change it, and maybe re-upload it as their own app. You keep ownership, control, and also reputation. And that level of transparency plus security is what can convince serious developers to join the competition. Because let's be honest, pro devs won't really waste time on a platform that anybody is able to steal and tamper with their work. So this is not just a cool tech feature. No, it's actually the foundation of the trust model. So let's have a quick recap of the revenue model and how Caffeine itself can potentially end up making money. From everything we know so far, it's shaping like this. The number one important point is selling cycles, and just like cloud providers charging for compute, Caffeine and internet computer ecosystem behind it earns by selling cycles. Number two, when it comes to cloning apps and sales, if you list your app on the App Store as a paid to clone, okay, at that point, most likely every time someone closes it, the platform could take a very small fee. Number three, when it comes to subscriptions and updates, users can subscribe to get your new features or maybe updates automatically. And again, the platform is in this scenario probably likely to keep a cut as well. Number four, what about premium placement ads? You see, maybe in the future, devs could potentially pay to have their apps featured at the top of the App Store, or maybe they are going to be able to run ads. And what's really clever is this. All of this can scale with usage. The more people that build, clone, and use apps, the more money flows to both the creators and the platform at the same time. Now, when it comes to the bigger picture, the question is this model actually sustainable? In my opinion, the answer is 100% yes. You want to remember, this model is democratized, meaning anybody with an idea, even non-coders, can join and build something. Number two, this model is very attractive to pros. Why? Because it offers tamper-proof apps, real monetization, and trusted environment. Number three, this is very, very user friendly, meaning you basically have free apps or even cheap cloning, or maybe if you want more, you can subscribe for premium features. And at the end of the day, you want to remember that this model is absolutely revenue positive for the platform, meaning cycles, percentage cuts, and paid features all stack up to potentially a significant amount of money. So it's not just self-writing apps, it becomes kind of a self-writing plus self-sustaining ecosystem. Developers, if they build great apps, they end up making money, and they are probably going to, after that, build better apps. And since in this scenario, users will get choice, well, okay, that will probably lead to bigger user base, and the platform itself will earn steadily, meaning it can keep running, innovating, and scaling big time. That's why Caffeine could potentially be more than just a fun AI toy. It could actually end up being an engine for real economic activity across thousands of micro apps. So let's just wrap this up and then go on the live chart and see what is happening. You see, these concerns like, hey, what if somebody clones my app and takes all my hard work? These are, in my opinion, 100% understandable concerns. But as we talked about in today's update, there are lots of ways to handle this situation. You can have paid cloning. You can subscribe for ongoing updates. You can pay for premium features. Number four, you can have freemium models where basic clones are free, but you need to pay for some serious projects. And finally, you want to remember that apps are absolutely tamper-proof to protect your original code. Okay, it's very important to remember that. And here is the thing. If we can already imagine these models from the outside, I think it's kind of safe to assume that ICP team and the devs that are currently working on Caffeine AI have probably thought about them too, maybe even in more depth. So in my opinion, there really isn't a huge reason to panic. Now, having said all that, I believe it is absolutely fair to say that democratizing app creation, meaning making it so anybody can spin up apps by chatting with AI, could push average revenue per app down. I completely understand that, and I think this might actually end up happening. Why? Because, well, more curators will lead to more supply, and more supply in most cases will lead to more competition, and more competition will probably lead to lower prices. But honestly, that's not really a bad thing. In fact, it's actually the whole point. Because number one, it breaks down the gatekeeping of software, which is great. Number two, it opens up new creativity for people who never could have built apps before. And number three, it can lead to thousands of small, useful, in some cases, maybe even weird, creative apps nobody would have built in the old model. And that can create entirely new markets, communities, and economic opportunities. So overall, yes, the risks are, in my opinion, real. The concerns are making sense. But on the other hand, it could be potentially huge. A truly open, self-writing, tamper-proof app ecosystem built on ICP could change not just how we build apps, but who gets to build them and what kind of ideas actually make it into the world. And from my point of view, that is very, very exciting. And I think we shouldn't really be worried about somebody else stealing our apps. No, I believe that Caffeine AI at the end of the day, and again, pay attention, I said at the end of the day, not right out of the gate, is going to be a useful product, which will, number one, bring the cost down, and number two, as a result of that, will probably attract a huge amount of adoption. So overall, I think it's all positive news for ICP. Now, what is going on the live charts and the story in the short term can be potentially a bit different. You see, if you remember, the last time that we talked about ICP, we were actually right around, I believe, this area, and the idea was that I need to see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave up, and we are probably going to have it, since back then when we were around here, the nature of this move up was quite impulsive, and I said after having a 5 wave down, we are probably going to get a move on the downside, and we need to pay full attention to the shape of that move, not the move down itself, because that's kind of predictable. So what happened? I'm gonna say pretty much what we talked about. Now, here is the deal. I think this is probably going to be the end of our wave 4. This is our wave 5, and followed by that, I think it is kind of safe to assume that we are dealing with kind of a slow and choppy move on the downside. Why is that? Let's measure timing wise from here to about here. So far, the current move down is taking us about 215 candlesticks on 30-minute time frame. On the other hand, this move up happened only in about 70 candlesticks. So from my POV, this suggests that despite having way more than enough time, almost 3.5 times more, bears are failing to pull the price all the way back down to these levels. So what is it that I'm trying to say? I believe you are dealing with a 5 wave up followed by a correction and structure down, and maybe this isn't actually going to be the low of our correction. Why is that? You see, let's go around here. Whenever you are having a couple of lows very close together, usually in most cases, people are going to open some long positions in here, and they will put their stop losses under the lows. And the price, well, that has unfortunately a tendency to destroy those people, meaning after potentially a very quick bounce, you are going to see a move down in order to hit all those stop losses. Now, why is that important? Let's go on the live chart. Maybe it's best to go on like 15-minute time frame. Okay, so as you can see, I think we can all say that these lows are extremely close together. So I'm gonna say there's probably some liquidity under the lows, and sure, we may end up doing something like this, but then after it, count on yet another move on the downside. However, even at that point, at least in like very short term, I'm going to remain optimistic and argue maybe we are having the subwaves for a simple A, B, C zigzag. So what does this mean? We can have two different counts in here. Scenario number 1 suggests that the final low in here in ICP is already in, and in that case, well, okay, this can be on a higher degree, 5 up into 1 correction for wave 2, and if this is happening, what's next? Massive move up into wave 3 and 4 and 5. Scenario number 2 suggests the final low is not in yet, and sure, we are actually going to get a move on the upside in order to at least take the highest side in here for the first target, about $5.1, but on a higher degree, and overall, we may just end up having the subwaves for a simple ABC zigzag, meaning from these areas, we can have like yet another move down in order to take the lowest low, which I think it was somewhere around like the $4 area. That is also possible. Which scenario is going to be in play? At the moment, I don't really believe that I can tell you for sure what is going to happen next, but here's the situation. I think right now we should focus on this move up and then a move down followed by yet another move on the upside, and then right in here we are going to make new updates and see where are we going to go from there, because what really matters is this: what is going to happen after this move up? Are we going to have a consolidation and another move up, or maybe from here we're going to get a rather sharp move on the downside? For now, we really cannot have a decent idea of what is going to happen in here, but for now I don't really even believe that we need to predict what is going to happen in here. No, let's just focus on something like this, and then when we get there, we will talk about the possible scenarios. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in Internet Computers chart. Anyway, if you found any value in my content, I would really appreciate if you like this video and consider subscribing to my channel and follow me on Twitter. And if you want more, maybe you want a complete analysis for your own specific crypto, or maybe you want to learn some decent TA in order to be able to make good money in the markets, you can become a member and ask me anything you want. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time with your family and loved ones. Goodbye.